Hi guys, Mrs. Bertoli here. I'm going to show you how to use four different methods, hatching, cross-hatching, scumbling, and blending to make these figures look like 3D or AKA form. I'm going to go ahead and start with some hatching on this pyramid. I have some reference images for you in Schoology. What you might notice is that on the pyramid, you have some very light shading here. It gets lighter towards the apex of the pyramid. Then you get your darkest shading here, and it gets a little bit lighter as it hits more light from the light source that's coming down. Now, in your instructions, I've asked you to include a drop shadow or a cast shadow. So we're going to start with that. So let's go ahead and pretend that there is a tiny little sun. I'm going to make it happy. Right over here. And it's casting a shadow on this pyramid. What's going to happen is this apex here is going to block out the sun. We're going to bring that sunlight coming across the edge here to create that shadow. Okay, now that we have our cast shadow there, let's go ahead and start cross-hatching. So I'm going to start with my vertical lines first, and I'm going to start with lines that are very light. Just following the shape of that pyramid and making them come to a point so that we can see the shape of the figure better. Now with cross-hatching, in order to make things look darker, we're going to put those lines closer together and again, following that shape. If I wanted to kind of blend out, I'm going to use those lines to indicate that the shadow is ending and sort of vary the length in which they're moving out. And one thing great about cross-hatching is we can create more parallel lines to create more shade. I'm going to add a couple more vertical lines here at the edge. All right, we have some shading there. I'm going to go ahead and clean up that edge with an eraser. If you don't want to erase the outside of your area, take a piece of paper, line it up with the edge, and erase. This works awesome for straight edges. Okay, next we have our darkest area. We're going to go ahead and fill in vertically. I'm just going to start on the edge so that we have a nice line. You can use a ruler for this, or you can use a spare piece of paper like I have. Okay, I'm going to go ahead again and follow that shape. This is called contouring, and it gives us a better idea of which direction the surface is moving in. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and include some more lines that are closer together. Remember, with hatching and cross-hatching, you're creating parallel lines over and over again. I'm going to block off this area here. I'm going to space the lines out at the edge just a little bit more and use lighter pressure. Okay, I'm going to start from over here then. And again, I'm going to follow that baseline moving out. So it's going to be much darker through here. I'm going to fade those lines to the edge. So I'm going to stop at a certain point, making sure that my lines are pretty close together. You need to go back and fill in some spaces like I am. Go for it. Okay, I've got my first round of lines down. I'm going to go ahead and make it darker along the apex here. Some harder pressure and lines that are very close together. Your pencil can be sharp for this or dull for it. With sharper pencils, you're going to get finer lines. With more dull pencils, of course, you're going to get thicker lines, which is great if you're aiming for a more filled in space. Okay, so far so good. Looking a bit more 3D. Next we have the shadow. The shadow is going to be quite dark here because it's receiving the least amount of light. And as light gets farther away from the object, the shadow is going to become lighter. So let's go ahead and show that. I'm going to clean up my outline right here with an eraser. All right, looking better already. I'm going to go ahead and define the bottom of my triangle. And we're going to start cross-hatching. And now we're going to go in the other direction. Making sure we're close together. And our line's going to end where we want them to fade. I'm going to layer my lines here. And there you have it, cross-hatching on the pyramid.